This content is based on telepathic communication between the ninth density collective of Ra and their conduit, Joe. Welcome to the Book of Anu. A new era for humanity is dawning as fear is overcome and love becomes the frequency used for manifestation. Humans have dreamt, written, sung and preached about love, trying their best to create a loving world. But it has not worked well since the ego has dominated the human mind. Fear was infused by the ruling elite, as they knew how the primitive ego reacts when confronted with a potential threat. It moves into survival mode, the state it masters and was created for. We discussed the ego in the last chapter and concluded that the death of the ego is an inevitable part of the ascension process. In the fifth density, you learn to love again in a pure and selfless way. We call this unconditional love since it means giving without expecting something in return. You think, act and feel love no matter what happens around you or to you. Most humans read about this type of love and deem it divine and unattainable. However, we have repeatedly said that you are God. There is nobody out there to worship and obey. You are that very power that you seek. Unconditional love flows in your veins, and you are an embodiment of this pure energy. Gender is a topic creating much tension among humans, but in the light heavens it holds no significance. Please understand that the sacred masculine and feminine aren't real concepts. Gender is part of the simulation, and no matter how much attention you give gender, it doesn't become more real. However, your human chess game on planet Earth, the simulation you are part of, is yours to finish. Feel free to play with polarity as long and as strongly as you wish. To source energy, gender is an interesting concept. It contributes to the overall polarity on the physical and semi-physical realms. Still, gender does not define a being, and since it is part of the hologram, it will eventually be understood as an illusion. Most humans have grown up with religion, and in the third density, the concept of God often mirrors its creators. Your mythologies describe an extraterrestrial presence that was once your reality. Naturally, these visitors were no more divine than you are. Just because they had technology you didn't understand, it doesn't make them gods. Even if they did master genetic manipulation and created the human species, it doesn't make them more powerful than you are. These visitors had male and female characteristics because they were star beings and part of the simulation, just like you are. However, don't think of this universe we call Eon as the center of creation. There are countless universes where the hologram operates entirely differently and where gender is an altogether unfamiliar concept. Gender is part of this universe because we, the ninth density collective of Ra, decided to weave it into the hologram. We could have created a universe without gender, but the polarity it offered made the game more intriguing. The consciousness of a planet has no gender, meaning Gaia, often referred to as Mother Earth, is without gender. In fact, each being on the planet is genderless. This universe has many expressions of gender, but on a soul level there exists no gender. Eon is a simulation, a hologram. Nothing is real. This universe is a school, a game you volunteered to join. The challenge is that you become so immersed in the illusion that some of you don't want to graduate and move on to the next realm. If you have issues, for example, with people coming out as transgender and proudly and publicly identifying that way, then you should prepare for another 26,000 years in an Earth-like third density school. Your reaction indicates a desire to control the world and play a game where there is a right and wrong way of doing things. Right and wrong are indeed for you to decide, but Ascension involves decoding the illusion you're living. If you struggle with accepting a man feeling like a woman, you'll face far greater challenges with the disclosure of extraterrestrial life. Contact with hundreds of galactic civilizations is a natural part of becoming Homo luminous, and on that path you must approach and treat every star being without judgment. A good start would be to stop judging other human beings. How will someone provoked by a man dressing like a woman cope when they realize that the universe is filled with diverse expressions of gender, sexuality, and concepts beyond current human comprehension? If you have trouble with terms like gay, bisexual, lesbian, gender fluid, non-binary, transsexual, and pansexual, how will you handle encountering beings like insectoids, reptilians, and aquatic entities that surpass you in intellect and live lives you may deem sinful based on your current human belief systems? Many people are still obsessed with others not behaving, thinking, dressing, and loving the same way they do. Those who have problems with others are deeply trapped in the simulation, which, in turn, means that it will continue. Essentially, you're alone in your universe. Everyone around you is there for your experience and your soul's path. They're not real, they're part of your simulation. And of course, you're part of their simulation as either an uplifting force or a controlling one. Your roles in each other's simulations follow pre-birth plans. You help each other grow and evolve. However, your game is your own, and when it ends, your individual third density simulation concludes. Since none of what you call reality is real, to ease your ascension journey, direct your attention to things that bring you peace of mind. What does it truly mean to be a man? Let's not dwell on the past, as the wounded masculine has caused suffering and pain for millennia. All humans carry collective and karmic wounds related to gender, reinforced by limiting belief systems. Clearly, the wounded masculine has deeply impacted women as well. Each soul fragment has experienced both male and female incarnations, and the wounded masculine resides within both men and women. As all kind of dogma and ideologies are fading away, the wounded masculine is being healed. Embrace the emergence of the new man and the masculine aspects of Homo Luminous. On New Lemuria, people self-regulate. The rule of law is also a thing of the past. Enlightened beings following the path of service to others know how to love unconditionally. Therefore, the gender conflicts that have dominated past millennia won't continue into your future. How does this come about, you might wonder? It's all connected to higher consciousness, enabling everyone to decode the matrix. When you no longer find joy in the third density game, polarity weakens and you ascend to the next realm. In the semi-physical fifth realm, polarity exists in a different form, and it does not affect a person's everyday life. On an individual level, there's a greater sense of harmony. People understand their own divinity and self-regulate when their vibrational frequency drops. Ascending from your third density Earth school to the fifth density will feel immensely liberating to humans. On fifth density New Earth, both liberated men and women identify as Homo Luminous, never limited by gender. There are two biological versions of this being, distinguished by male and female genitalia. However, in all meaningful ways, there's no real difference between men and women. In the fifth density, thought patterns are more evolved and multidimensional, influenced by access to mass consciousness and wisdom. Men have transcended the role of protector and warrior that was part of the patriarchal rule. The enlightened man holds space for others without interfering or controlling. In the simulation you're in, the present moment is all that exists. The concepts of future and past are intertwined in the eternal now. The simulation ends when you are done playing the game. Even if a species goes extinct, it persists eternally as cosmic code and as memories in the Akashic Library. When you're no longer human, the concept of humanity becomes irrelevant. Homo Luminous is another species, and third density humanity is no longer part of their so-called reality. We know this is challenging for many humans who believe the purpose of life is to propagate and continue their lineage. But you are a fractal of Source and live in every species, and you are part of the cosmic code that controls the elements. Seeking immortality is pointless, since you can never truly die. From our ninth density perspective, we say, be who you want to be. Remove gender from the equation and live as the being you feel called to be. Be a man, a woman, or transcend gender altogether. This is your game. Play it the way you want while allowing others to do the same. If this is done without judgment, you are well prepared for Ascension. In the fifth density, there are no critics because the frequency of judgment is not part of the semi-physical realms. Those who judge are bound to repeat their third density education on a planet similar to your current Earth school. Our message is freedom. Be who you wish to be and support others in their chosen paths. The mindset of the fifth density reflects a revolution of love already underway. When this revolution concludes, you are radiant, telepathic, and powerful beings. You embody unconditional love and experience freedom to its fullest. Until next video, please remember that New Earth is created by you, only you. This is your starseed mission, and so it begins.